Found the net. Goal for Wednesday. Terrific goal by Taylor.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and he scores. Still Glenn Wheeler. Hayden Flynn wins the goal. It's the tie for a winner.
This is not on the players, it's not on the gaffer, it's not on us as fans either. It's all on one man, single-handedly destroying this football club. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Til I Die Podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me this evening is Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, how are you, mate? All good?
I'm all right, mate. This shirt has been sat in a wardrobe for 2 weeks waiting for your arrival back from Greece, going, do you know what? Me and you give it so much shit over the last 8 months going, I can't believe you've spent 70 quid. Don't get me wrong, this will be the only time that it ever sees the light of day because of the shit word art. But again, I thought, do you know what? Let's wear it once and then stick it back in a wardrobe and forget about it.
Well, I'm glad that you've saved it for me. Anyway, I feel quite special. But no, it's been good to be reunited with yourself again. And I've said it on the debate show midweek, but massive thanks for stepping in. I say stepping in, you're here all the time. I remember I need to say that to Paul, but you know what I mean, for stepping up, should I say, and filling my boots. He did, a stellar job, it has to be said. Appreciate it, mate. It's I hadn't, again, I knew how much prep went into it, obviously, beforehand, but it's the fucking management of it. Anybody who is thinking, do you know what, it'd be all right, I would just say, do it for 2 weeks, see if you can keep it up. It is hard. It's like having a second job, honestly. Matt, when you've done, I think it's something, I don't know, last time I checked, which was quite a while ago, it's about 700 and something episodes, including all the episodes that you get on Patreon and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just say that it's quite streamlined now, and I think I know what I'm doing. Anyway, yeah, I think you're all right. I think the last 2 weeks, it's just been sheer panic stations in it. Right, I'm going to need a good, solid 2 hours of runway here. Yeah, definitely. But no, you did a good job, mate. So thank you very much. Obviously, we're going to have a lot to talk about. We've got the 2-0 defeat against Swansea to get our teeth into. I think it would also be remiss of us not to talk about the Leeds game. You know, stellar job getting through to the third round of the Carrier Bag Cup, as you were calling it. Obviously, got to Bailey Cadamarteri, linked with Blackburn and our bitter rivals as well that we can talk about. I can see there's loads of people already in the chat. We've got Alex, he says evening. Louis says Chansiri out. We've got John here as well. I've got Nat. Duncan says, I hope that's a DH gate, Matt. 9 months ago purchase, mate. Sadly arrived on my doorstep even after I'd seen the design. You should have seen my crestfallen face when I saw the design of it. This will be the only time that it actually makes it out. And I've also seen somebody said that they'd pay 25 quid for it. I'm going to use Chansiri's logic and say, I hate it. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's going to sit in my wardrobe untouched. So actually, I'll take 700 quid for it, mate. Chansirinomics, working wonders there. Yeah. Before we talk about the Leeds game and obviously then the Swansea defeat and all stuff like that, I never thought that this day would happen, but it has. The club have actually acknowledged the issue of running water on the North Stand. I never thought there would be a day where this happened, but it's happened. Apparently, it's only sporadic as well, which I thought was a bit probably the wrong choice of words. Maybe 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Yeah, maybe they need to look up that word sporadic in the dictionary to find out what it actually means. Maybe thought, hey, it sounds quite nice, that word. I'll use that one. He says, if the taps aren't running as they should, please use the hand sanitizer provided. We're aware of sporadic ongoing water flow issues and are working closely with Yorkshire Water to get things sorted. Thank you for your patience during this period. I thought that, yeah. The fact that I saw a tweet conversation with Yorkshire Water, and let me give him, they might not be aware of it. It might be, I don't know, a different area or whatever. But I just thought it was really funny as someone's asked them, and like, yeah, we're not aware of any issues in that current area. I was like, all right, okay, yeah, but yeah, is it, you know when they talk about like it being like a temporary issue or sporadic issue, is that the same as cash flow? Is this like a sporadic issue that doesn't exist
you know, like it's only 4 of the last 6 months. Don't worry about it. It's sporadic.
No, the wages are only an issue one day of the month, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, give it 29
Same
days,
as a tax
like,
bill.
Yeah, you only have to pay it once every month. So all the other days were absolutely fine. But yeah, it just made me laugh when I saw it. To be fair, it just really made me giggle. The fact that it's a, excuse the pun, a running joke that there's no water on the north. But yet they've only just highlighted the issue. They are working very close though, so really close.
Question also: how much did they have to spend on hand sanitizer? Wouldn't it have just been cheaper to get a fucking plumber? Look, again, it just, my goodness. Please use the hand sanitizer provided. Did anybody try it? Did anybody see if there was any left?
Do you know what? Actually, to be fair, the water was actually running. I've killed him.
Oh my goodness me!
I did actually wash my hands for the first time in about 3 years. At Hillsborough. It's not. I do actually wash my hands when I'm out and about and everything else. But no. I mean, talking of the North Stand, a nice little segue in. Nice to see one of these T-shirts. One I'm sporting here, the black and gold North Stand. Saw one in the Wild earlier on. Obviously, when I say Wild, I mean Morrison's at Catcliffe. There was a guy walking around wearing one, which I nearly said something, and then the moment passed. I'd have looked a bit weird if I then started running around chasing him, you know, to tell him that I like his T-shirt or whatever.
Just trying to engineer a conversation about his T-shirt. Just, do you mind if I just get nice T-shirt?
Yeah, moment. But do you know what I mean? When that happens, when like the moment's passed, then you think, oh fucking, I should have said something. So if you are listening, if that was you at about 2:30 Sunday afternoon in Morrison's at Catcliffe, nice T-shirt, mate. If you do want one, head over to the shop, wtidpod.myshopify.com. International break now, so if you order one now, you will get one for the Bristol City game. It will get there in time. So I also got me a Royal Oak shirt as well. Here we go. For those watching, I'm sure you've seen it. Black and blue lotto number. I've spent more money on Royal Oak on a fictional football team's merchandise than I have the football club that I've been supporting all my life, which it kind of says something there, doesn't it, Matt, to be honest?
It does say something. I think it's mental how I started watching that YouTube series, 12 years ago, where there's Matthew Wynn hanging out of a bedroom and he's like, Steve Bracknell's throwing stones at the window, trying to get him out, and it's the same every week and all the rest of it. To where it's got to now, I'm so pleased for him. I'm so pleased for Chris and for all of the lads who are involved. It's brilliant. And again, I only saw it on socials in terms of the crowd at Meadowhall. I don't think Meadowhall's seen a crowd like that before. I know Meadowhall's busy on a Saturday. That looked very, very busy. And the fact that they were taking the time out to speak to all of them, there were like young kids dressed up like Steve Bracknell and stuff. Bob the Bucket as well. It was brilliant, genuinely brilliant. I'm so thrilled for him that it's taken off in this way. Now all we need is a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. But isn't it amazing what a bit of, an idea and a bit of PR and a bit of social media, all exposure and all stuff like that, and stuff that we don't really do. I mean, football clubs kind of have it easy, don't they? Because obviously, I know we're customers, but we're actually fans. So we put any old tat out and people buy it. Even people said I know obviously we're boycotting the shirt, but had this not been a thing and it's just a normal season, you hate the shirt, but you just go out and buy it because it's just what you always do. So they know they have got so many people that will just buy anything that says Sheffield Wednesday on it. I'll buy it. I'll spend my money. But for him to have done it from the ground up, and I mean, some people actually do believe it is actually a real football team. I mean, my wife Hannah said to me, so is it not actually like a pub team or anything like that? I was like, no, it doesn't exist. Like all them people that you see in the videos running around, they're just his mates. And you're like, actually, sorry if you are listening and you do think it's real. Sorry, I feel like I've just told my kids that Father Christmas is not real. But but you're like, it's not. Is it not Royal Oak somewhere? I was like, no, it's just made up. She didn't quite believe it, but no, like I said, fair play to Chris. I was chatting to him when I went in. I wasn't one of those that were queuing up. I went a bit later. There was no queues. I were thinking though they've probably ran out, but you can pre-order it and everything else. But no, it was great to see. Right, let's get into actual Sheffield Wednesday talk. I'm sure there'll be people going, I've not come here to listen to that. I've come here to listen about Sheffield Wednesday. So we'll get onto it. Let's talk about that Leeds game. I think it's fair to say, Matt, I think when we saw that we were playing Leeds, obviously Premier League side, I thought that, the lads would probably go out there, put in a valiant performance, battle hard, but ultimately probably, not be good enough and fall short. But it was quite the opposite, weren't it? Yes, Leeds had most of the possession, I think 80%. They had some big chances that they couldn't finish off. But I think we showed the heart, the fight, the desire. I think that one word that we came away with that we've already said a few times, or you've said a few times, is proud. And I think that was the main thing. When obviously, we got through and we beat them on penalties, but we were just so immensely proud of that achievement, really. Just
a crying fucking shame that there were several fans who felt that they had no alternative but to not go. Last year, James, me and you sat here lamenting the lack of defensive cohesion. I'm sure we're going to get on and talk about that tonight in terms of the game as well. Yesterday, yeah. The thing that I took away from the game on Tuesday, was these lads know one another's games inside out. It's such a solid unit. It's compact. They know how to cover one another. They know when somebody's, like that sixth sense that players get from, like, Baz has had this with a couple of players over his time. Sam Hutchinson, him and Shea Charles developed it over a really short period of time, but that's because of the quality of the two players. They developed that sixth sense
as well, and Bannon,
of like when a player's going to get beat, or when a player's going to set off and run, and exactly where they're going to run to. In the two displays that these young lads have put in, both at Bolton and here, I have been immensely impressed with them defensively. Okay, we haven't seen mountains of them in an attacking sense. I think that's fair at Bolton as well. I know they were down to 10 men, and I know we'd scored 3, but I don't think we were peppering them with chances left, right, and centre. The player I've been most impressed with is Jarvis Thornton. It feels bad to single somebody out because there are so many that you could talk about here.
Special mention for Ernie Weaver as well. I think he's been great. But go on.
McGee as well. Like, there's been some fantastic performances. But if Jarvis Thornton can just add that element of composure to his forward play, picking a pass or an assured touch, which will come with more kind of like game time at the level. We've got a really, really competent central midfielder there who can, genuinely, my belief, who could make the step up and play week in, week out at championship level. Now, do I think that he'd be one of the top performers? No, I think that's setting the bar way too high at this point in time. Do I think that having seen a number of appalling central midfielders, like you can rattle them off, I mean, Kenny Lunt just springs to mind here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this litter of players that we've seen in Sheffield Wednesday since 2000 playing in the central midfield role. This kid does not look out of place, and didn't look out of place at Bolton. I thought he was immaculate at Bolton. I thought he was really, really good at Bolton, but probably the limelight got stolen from him from Sikera, rightly so, with a 35-yard thunder bastard right into the top corner. Reece Johnson obviously got the goal at left back. He, for me, is the tone setter amongst that, almost like our second, I can't believe we've got a second string, but almost like that second side. I would really, really like to see, after the international break, him make that breakthrough and make his first kind of like professional league debut, if that makes sense. I think he deserves it.
But you've just made that point as well. We've got two sides, haven't we? We have the under-21s and we've got the first team. And still, he's still first team and under-21s. You look yesterday, there was 12 first team players if you include EQ on the bench, and then there wasn't any of the youngsters in. All right, Charlie McNeil, but he's not come through the ranks. He came in as a first team player. Same with Kabatsky. Well, he's not even that young anymore, is he? I still think Kabatsky's about 12, but he's not. He's not 23, 24. But what point I'm making is there's two separate sides, and you made the point there how you can see that they're a unit and they've played with each other for quite some time, come through the ranks and stuff. The problem is now is they haven't been kind of slowly introduced. They've not really been training with the first team. To my knowledge, maybe some have slightly, but we had a big squad, or we had players last season. We haven't got them anymore. So now they're straight in there, and I don't want to use the term making the numbers up, but they're needed just to play kind of just to train, even if they're not even going to play. So the problem you've got is we're now then asking them to come into the first team, and they're having to learn everyone else, aren't they? At the same time, they're not having that cohesion that you were talking about with Barry Bannon and Josh Windass and Palmer as well. That they kind of know where each other are. They're having to come in, and it's going to take them time, to actually, get into the squad and actually into that first team and feel as easy as it is when they're playing with all the mates, if you know what I mean.
I think it's a fair point. I think you've got to bring them in twos, would be my honest opinion. I think you've got to bring them in partnerships rather than just one on their own. I think, say for argument's sake, Reece Johnson in the 2 cup games that we've seen him, yes, we've played a League One side with 10 men, and yes, we've played a much changed league side. Because he has full confidence in the left centre back who is next to him. If he gets beat, he doesn't panic and he's not guessing himself. If he wants to go, he goes because he knows the person behind him will cover. I felt in the 2 league games and we have only seen real small snaps of him, he appears a little bit more hesitant. I would argue the same for Sean Vasire as well. He's a bit more hesitant on the ball and a little bit, when it is just, can you beat this lad in a foot race to win the tackle? I don't think there's no guesswork. They just go on instinct and they do that really well. It's when you've got that split second to actually take your time, get your head up, pick a pass. That's where you do need to know where those players are. We saw it, the game before the international break last year was Millwall, and we saw it when Shea Charles came into the side, didn't we? Shea Charles played, 60 minutes. He ousted Svante Ingelsson. Everybody was going, oh my God, I can't believe he's removed Ingelsson for him. And for 60 minutes, he looked a little offbeat and a bit off-key. After that partnership started developing with Bannon, and before you know it, the two of them know each other inside out. These lads, as you rightly said, James, are making their first steps. I think if you are going to do it, it has to be in twos. It has to be in, right, Reece, you're going to be next to, let's say you bring in Ernie Weaver next to him. You two are gonna marshal that side, but you put them in a back 5 so that centrally there might be a Max Lowe, so that if they get past these 2 kids, they skip through. The other one thing I know, because we don't often talk about midweek games, James, on here. The other thing that I would say is last year after the Steel City derby, we talked about there was opportunities where Wednesday could have got a shot off and people were flying in, bodies absolutely flying into block shots. I've seen that in the 2 games that these lads play.
Yeah.
They just go not even a thought about, what happens if this deflects off me and goes in. I thought that was in such stark contrast to the game that we saw on Saturday, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I would say, and I'm going to come on to it later on, is the fact that them lads will probably know that their game time is limited to the cup games. They are the team that goes out in the cup. Had they have lost against Leeds, that is it really, until the FA Cup, probably in early January, whenever we play the 3rd round. So when you come to see the other players, they're like, as I mentioned, there's 12 senior pros that are fit at the moment. So they can't just throw themselves in there, which I think they're going to be worried about burnout and stuff. So, but I do agree. Even when we have got a squad, I think that's something that I've said over the past couple of years, that you see other teams absolutely throwing themselves at the ball, like blocking shots from everywhere, left, right, and centre, and then we just kind of go, well, whatever. The ball just fizzes past you and goes in. But yeah, it was great to see that from the young lads. Quickly then, got Grimsby at home. What do you make to that draw? Purely from a footballing perspective, not about kind of boycott or anything like that. We'll talk about that later. But purely from a footballing perspective, 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, Grimsby at home.
Are we sure it's Grimsby and not Juventus with them playing Man United midweek? My goodness me. What do I make to it? I think it's a good opportunity for, again, that side to go out and get some valuable minutes under their belts, because as you were talking there and you were saying, we've got those 12 available players. We have now, but we know that there will be a need for them to step up at some point in the next 2 months with injuries, and the track record of definitely our defensive line in terms of injuries. The draw itself is favourable to us, and I would still say that after watching Grimsby be fully bang at it against Manchester United. The trade-off being, Grimsby have got the opportunity here to make a real statement and a name for themselves. I would imagine they will bring quite a large amount of travelling fans, regardless of a call for a boycott or not.
Can't wait to see all those fish in that away end.
Yeah. The honest answer is yes, it's a favourable draw. I know we're going to talk about the boycott potentially a little bit later on. I think it makes people's decision a little bit easier than had it have been Manchester United at home from that perspective.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what the price of the tickets will be. There were 15 quid for the Leeds game. Probably about a tenner, I would have thought, if they kind of know what they're doing, which will make it again. You're right, it's harder for them to go, but we'll talk about that in a bit. I think. It's a good chance. It's a good chance for us to get through to the next round. Yeah. Some people have been saying that Grimsby will be more difficult than the Leeds game. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, as you said, Grimsby were well up for the Man United game, and rightly so. If Man United come into your place, are they going to be as up for Sheffield Wednesday? Obviously, it's away from home. They know that it's not going to be our first team. It is effectively, Sheffield Wednesday under 20. It's like a Carabao. It's like a Pizza Cup game, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're going to have teams. They're going to come up against teams because obviously they're in League Two. They're going to play against Man United or Tottenham or whoever it is under 21s. That's who they're effectively playing against. So I don't know. I don't know if it is going to be a tougher game or not. I can't really put my finger on it, to be honest. Can't really work it out.
The only reason why I would say that they are going to be licking their lips a little bit more is because they will thinking they've got a real chance to go through and draw one of the really big, quote unquote, because I know we're massive, but one of the big teams away from home. Like you've got the opportunity to go and draw a Tottenham. You've got the opportunity to go and draw an Arsenal, a Liverpool, an Everton, for argument's sake. You've got that opportunity to go and draw one of those teams and give yourself like a huge national stage to perform on, because regardless of what goes on with like our fans and what we decide to do for that game, there will be an opportunity for them to go and score goals. Because if you're their manager, all you've got to do is just go and say, look, you've done it against Man United, you've done it against a centre half who's worth what this football club is worth for. These are there for the taking, boys, and I just want that same attitude. Like, go out there and play with like the same level of freedom that you did. Having said that, I don't know, this is a mental statement to say. I think we provide a sterner test than what Man United were in terms of having seen the solidity from that under 21. I didn't see it from Manchester United when I watched the game in midweek. So the only worry is that there is going to be an emphasis on us to attack and break them down. And that is a side of the game that we haven't really seen from the cup team of Sheffield Wednesday.
You said that, but like, what level is Sheffield Wednesday under 21s? Like, is it?
It's a good question.
Do you know what I mean? You could argue that it's probably lower than League Two, really. Like, I don't know. I've no idea. Like, as a whole team, as a whole, 11 or they were 9, weren't they? There were 9 of them. They were Jamal Lowe and they were Horvath in goal. But yeah, I want to bring this one up. Noel says, I live in Grimsby. We need to win. I can't take we piss on your fish chance for a week. Yeah. Get that. Adams also said you only sing when you're fishing. Love those chants when we went to Grimsby last season. What is it, by the way, with us and just getting picked against in the cup games against teams that we've just played before as well? Like, we had Grimsby last time. We had Coventry 7 times in a row, something ridiculous. What was it the season before? Fleetwood. I know obviously we're not playing Grimsby in the league, but we hadn't played them last season. Like, there's 92 other football clubs. Well, I know we couldn't draw Sheffield United because they're not in the cup. But,
so unfortunate for them.
Just on that as well, by the way. I know like Jim is a close friend from the Blades Ramble, but you keep saying when I was away, you were like, just listen to the first 5 minutes, absolute pure gold.
He's fucking get Wilder back. There's only one man who can sort this out. Get him fucking back, boys. Get him back.
Just on that, I was listening to Praise of Grumble. Yes, I'm sure many other people were listening to it as well. Honestly, they think they're in a worse situation than what we are. I'm like, I'm not hearing talk about like kind of going way over the top and getting a bit dramatic. Like, they're thinking they're in a worse situation than what we are. I'm like, mate, you have no idea what we're in. But it's great seeing him all panic. Anyway,
it's great seeing him panic, James. It's also, I think we are well entitled as Sheffield Wednesday fans because we know this isn't going to last all season. It's not going to last all season. There is going to come a game where they win one, and we probably still haven't won one by then. So it's like, we could be 15 games in at that point. The thing that baffles me is there appears only one man who can fix this, and that is simply not the case. Like, say for argument's sake, if a new, please God, let it be true, a new owner rocks up at Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. They've been doing this deal in secret. Nobody's heard anything. They just unveil themselves and they go, I'm going to go out and get Danny Röhl back. Yeah. I think a lot of people are going, yeah, all right, but we need to move on a bit from that kind of stage of things. I just don't get the obsession with Chris Wilder. I understand that he's one of their own. I understand that he's been relatively successful, but if you class in success as a couple of seasons in the Prem and then getting relegated, be my guest, boys. I know you nearly once got to Europe, but different story, innit?
It's funny though when you hear it. But the thing is, though, history tells you that it's literally that's the only manager that they've got that actually does anything with them. But anyway, let's not talk about them and start laughing at them. Although I will say, when I was on holiday, there was some United fans there, and one of them was walking over like round the pool, and he was looking at his phone, and I just said to him, no matter how many times you look at it, you're still bottom. The thing is, he couldn't say anything. He literally could not say a thing. Anyway, let's talk about yesterday's 2-0 defeat then. Starting lineup: Horvath, Valerie Iorfa, Max Lowe, Palmer, Ingleson, Bannon, Kabatsky, McNeil, Cadamarteri, and Jamal Lowe. One change: Ike Ugbo dropped to the bench. Jamal Lowe came in to replace him. What did you make to that change kind of pre-game? Again, I know you've got some thoughts on the partnership between Jamal Lowe and Cadamarteri, which we'll come on to later. But before kickoff, what is it now? I was going to say 2:00. It's not, is it? It's 1:45.
Yeah, 1:45 for some fucking bizarre reason.
Yeah, I have no idea why that is, but anyway. But yeah, when that got announced, what did you think?
Understood it. Just because we were likely to see a lot less of the ball, because that is the MO of Swansea. Doesn't matter what year you play them in, because this is what happens when you have a director of football and a brand of football that football club plays, that the manager just rotates in and the football and the style continues. My concern with playing Jamal Lowe was he played a lot of minutes midweek, and obviously he played a fairly substantial chunk of Wrexham away as well. Obviously, you've already prefaced the discussion that we're going to have later surrounding Jamal Lowe and Bailey Cadamarteri as a front two, and my thoughts on it. Again, we were having this conversation before we come on, weren't we, about like Ike Ugbo and blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about, he had three chances at Wrexham and he's not taken one and he's not done this and yada, yada, yada. I know this is going to sound like a broken record, James. He has a near post header that's blocked at Wrexham that's going in. He has one that is dog shit, which is a scuff shot. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to try and defend him on that. And one where the keeper just happens to be in the right moment at the right time. We see the exact same move a second later, like 5 minutes later from Bannon, and he strokes it straight in the back of the net. I think if you're going to go with a two, you have to play those two up top, because I think that as a two and as a pairing, if both fit, that is the best opportunity to, not necessarily for them to score the goals, but for them to create pockets of space for others to exploit.
What do you think Ike Ugbo's thinking right now? Because he hasn't scored since you're about, 17 years old or something. It feels like that anyway.
Yeah, in the league it's West Brom, isn't it? In open play it was Bolton.
Yeah, he's gone a full season in the league, and that was one game before the end. We're now 4 games into the season. He's gone it's a lot of games, and he hasn't hit the back of the net. Yeah, three good chances against Wrexham, and then after that he gets dropped. He don't play. It's one of them ones where I think, I suppose it's how long do you play him? How long do you keep playing him until he then scores? Because once you commit to playing him, you've committed, aren't you? Then you have to just keep playing him until that time comes. And that's what law of averages says. It's not going to last forever.
No,
but it feels like it is lasting forever. I don't know. I think he's probably just. I think he's just a broken man. I feel like he needs to move to another football club. Like deep down himself, like he probably thinks I just need to go somewhere else. And I can just write this off as just a bad day at the office and start again fresh.
I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment. I think, again, if it was a well-run and well-set-up club off the field, I think there would have been potentially a look to move Ike Ugbo out this summer. I think as it was, I think Ike Ugbo has actually made the decision to stay from, judging by an Instagram post that he put, fuck it, we'll go again. I look at it and think there is a player in there who can score goals because we have seen it at this level. And I know it was a purple patch and I know they all came in consecutive games. We still don't play to his strengths. Last week at Wrexham, we played more to his strengths and he gets 3 opportunities. Okay, doesn't take one, but we still go on to score 2 in the game. He was on the pitch while we scored one of them. He's making runs into the box. My worry is how much you are putting on the shoulders of Bailey Cadamarteri here. Because Bailey Cadamarteri is, for my money, I think the most natural finisher. The person who, inside of 30 yards, you always know he's going to look up at the net and go, oh, can I shoot? Like, he's going to shift it half a yard and his first thought isn't, let me take another touch. His next thought is, let me hit it as hard as I can.
Well, you look at all his goals. All his goals have been one touch, pretty much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they all come to him, bang, shoots. The goal against Wrexham was exactly the same. Cuts across, he's there, one touch. Again, I'm sure there's going to be people shouting at the TV screens in a second, but to my knowledge, he doesn't create anything himself. Maybe he has done a couple, but he's not going to pick the ball up and go on a meandering run and then, and then fire one in. He's going to, all right, I think he needs to work on his build-up play and stuff like that. But all his goals come from being in the right place at the right time. And look, if that's all he does, happy days. Like I'm all for that. But we have to get the ball into them situations in order for that to happen. And this season, we're going to find it very difficult when you only have, when you're only having 30% possession. You're not. Sometimes you need someone to create that bit of moment of magic, don't you? Really, we just haven't got that person in the squad, have we? Really, like other than Bannon.
I don't disagree with you, James. I do think that there is a capability to engineer different chances to the ones that we have created, predominantly yesterday at Stoke as well. I do think there is an opportunity to engineer or change the patterns of play in the build-up that do lead to better chances that suit the 2 strikers at the top of the pitch. I know that's a big shift away from how you play in, but I'm looking at somebody like, again, not here, I'm looking at somebody like a Marvin Johnson from last season. Marvin Johnson, when he got inside of 40 yards, regardless of the quality of the delivery, would look up, get his head up and just whip the ball, wouldn't he? Like, he wouldn't look to, especially the last season, he didn't look to take people on. He didn't look to he didn't look to knock it round people. He looked to get the ball out of his feet and run it. If you play that delivery into Bailey Cadamarteri and you're just telling him, because at the minute we are asking an awful lot of him, not necessarily in the forward areas, in the defensive setup. We're asking him to chase and harry. We're asking him to hound down left backs and right backs. We're asking him to drop back into the midfield and chase runners when they go beyond him. That does mean that when, say for argument's sake, like yesterday, an opportunity does, I think it was Svante Ingelsson, makes a run down the edge, does screw the ball back, he's so physically knackered from doing all of that work that he is just a half yard on his heels. And it's not a criticism of him specifically. It's a criticism of, I suppose, we are hamstrung by, and again, it all goes back to the fucking top. We are hamstrung by the fact that we only have 12 players. We have 12 players who are capable of creating opportunities in this particular way, shape and form, and that is what they are good at. So we're going to put them in advantageous positions to make that happen. And we're asking a young kid and a now experienced Championship striker to adapt their game, and they're taking time, and that is what's going to happen.
I'm just going to say now as well, when we're talking about the game and things like that, I don't want to keep repeating myself and keep going, but we know that because it's the man at the top, and we're just going to talk about the game as a game of football, a level playing field, like it's just 2 11s playing against each other. So when we're talking about stuff, yes, I know the reason why we are dog shit at the moment is because of Depon Chansiri, but I don't want to keep having to say, or people shouting in the comments going, yeah, but we know why that is, because they haven't had a pre-season, or they haven't had this, or they haven't had that, or we've only got 12 fit players and everything else. Like, so I'm going to say it now, so I don't have to keep repeating ourselves. We know why that is, but we are just going to just critique the game of football and point out good things and stuff that didn't quite go according to plan. We talk about 12 fit players. One player that isn't fit is Deshaun Bernard. Speaking to Radio Sheffield after the game, Pedersen was asked that question, and he did confirm that. Well, he just said he's going to be out for, I think he said quite some time, or a long time, I think he said, which isn't great, because we got told, didn't we, it was going to be September. Well, September's tomorrow, if anyone wasn't aware of that. So, yeah, the fact he said quite some time, obviously, clearly things haven't gone according to plan. I've heard some people saying that they saw him walking outside the ground or something, and it looked like he was limping or hobbling. I think he's done his cruciate ligaments in his knee, because it was West Brom game, weren't it, away from home, where he went down, got back up again, and minutes later went down again. West Brom fans didn't like it. They thought it was time wasting, even though we were losing at the time, I want to say. But anyway, but it's a massive blow, in it, because we're looking and we need bodies. We're not signing anyone. Nobody's coming in, and the players are just, the players that we have got, well, there's only 12 of them now.
Yeah, my first thought about it all, James, was, am I actually going to see this player in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt again? And that's not me trying to be alarmist, but I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility, because I think the only source that is on this is Transfermarkt, and that has us down of him being in contract till 2027. Who knows where we're likely to be come 6 months down the line? Because, as you said, these, like an ACL, they're not a simple thing to recover from. Yes, I know a lot of players suffer with them, obviously, but they're not an easy thing to recover from, because obviously all your weight goes through that, like that particular joint and the muscle and like all of the ligaments that surround it. So it's not easy, especially in a game of football where you are constantly loading it in loads of different
and a central defender as well, by the way, is launching himself into tackles and everything else. Yeah.
Correct. I look at it and think, okay, if we don't hit, let's say we're unable to meet up with payments on wages again for the, in the next couple of months or whatever. Okay. What's to stop him going, do you know what? Get me the fuck out of here and give me something new. Get me into it. Because as a free agent, even with an injury and knowing the injury is there, you still take a punt on him, because you know what he is capable of in a competent back. And you just say, just come in, even if he went back to Man United and rehabbed, because I'm sure Man United would say, because he's gone through the youth setup, they would say, yeah, just come back in, like we do with Jack Hunt, come and keep yourself fit. They would do exactly the same type of situation and then again facilitate another move. I don't know. I would love to say that this player isn't going to disappear and run away, but who knows how many points we're going to have? Who knows what the financial situation, the managerial landscape is going to look like? How many players are actually going to be there? If he looks around at a treatment table and there's 7 other first teamers there by December, and he's thinking, well, I'm getting back to fitness here, but this is all going to be on me, and I don't know. The first thing I would be doing is saying to my agent, if you get the opportunity to, get me out.
Come January, it could be like a scene out of Saving Private Ryan. We all bodies just laid out there, like absolutely knackered. I mean, there's also a point of like, let's fast forward into, the start of the new year and stuff. If there's a situation where we are so well cut adrift at the bottom, it might be that actually we're going to play some of the youngsters, because that's we're not going to play. I know it sounds counterproductive, but move him on, and actually let's look and build for next season. And actually, these young lads might be able to do a job in League One, and you never know what might happen at that point. And actually, just play them instead. But we'll have to.
Just before we move on from Deshaun Bernard, James, I think there is a similarity here where this goes the way of Dominic Iorfa, and this isn't a slight at Dominic Iorfa. Dominic Iorfa obviously has had a lot of injuries in his time at Sheffield Wednesday. He's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. Dominic Iorfa, I would argue, is not the same as the player who we signed when he first came in, because, yes, Dominic Iorfa is still fast. Dominic Iorfa was legitimately the fastest man in Yorkshire for a while. Dominic Iorfa is still faster than I don't know, 9 out of 10 people.
Yeah.
But there are moments where you think, oh, I don't set off too quick. Or don't, like, you are thinking, aren't you, in your head when you get, like when he gets into a foot race, you are thinking, oh, I don't, no.
Yeah. You're just waiting for that, like that hammy going, aren't you? Then like,
yeah. You're waiting for him to like pull up, sit down on the floor, signal. My concern is with the position that they play and how much football, because he's not going to have time to ease his way back into games here. Because again, Max Lowe, injury record. Jan Valery, injury record. Dominic Iorfa, injury record. The minute he's fit, he plays. If he's in the Sheffield Wednesday, he plays. I don't give a shit who else is there. You know, like, it'd be wonderful to develop the kid. He plays because he's our best centre-half. No ifs or buts. Even when everybody's fit, he's our best centre-half.
Yeah.
You're rushing. It's the same with Nathaniel Chalobah. You cannot do this with these players because they have a track record of, if you load them too quickly, you will just be facing the exact same consequences again further down the line. I fucking hate this owner.
Yeah, tell me something I don't know. Let's talk about the game then. So obviously it finished 2-0, as we always do. Kind of, the overall thoughts from the game. I think for me, from my point of view, I thought we did in that first half. I thought we did quite well. I thought we were all right. I thought we were playing some good football. We started off and I thought it was pretty bright and everything else. But then, for me, we started up there. Swansea were down here. And then there was a moment in the game, the second half, really. It was literally like we came out, they were on top, they got the goal. And then from that point, there was always going to be one win. I know we had a few chances and stuff, but they weren't really clear-cut chances that we had. And that was it, really, weren't it? We were just frustrating and one of those games where you think you might get something and you look at Swansea at home. Like if we're talking about targeting any games, they're just a mid-table side. If there's any game you're going to get something out of, maybe that's one that you need to do something. I would have took a point before kick-off. If you'd offer me a 1-1 draw, not a 0-0, because who wants to go and watch a 0-0? You want to see at least a goal, don't you? Really? I'd have took a 1-1 and moved on to international break and watching England against Uzbekistan, who we've got this weekend.
I think before I launch into this, James, credit where it's due. Swansea deserved winners on the afternoon. No complaints from me. Better side in the second half. Quality showed. Quality told. Second goal's a fantastic finish as well. It's really difficult because, again, as you said right at the top of this, having to not preface everything, I thought that was our worst performance of the season yesterday, and I think it tells. Best
one I've seen in person.
I thought that was our worst performance of the season. I thought the performance at Leicester was defensively as heavily weighted defensively as we saw yesterday, because we didn't really create much at Leicester. We had a Nathaniel Chalobah one off the post, Nathaniel Chalobah one that went in, and then not a lot else for the rest of the game. Thought at Stoke, honestly, could have finished 3-3 because we had chances in that game, didn't take them. Wrexham should have won because we had and created an awful lot of opportunities in that game. Charlie McNeil, again, we spoke about last week with that last minute one. Yesterday, I can't make an argument that we deserved anything from the game. I just can't. Like, Swansea lull you into a monotonous... It's almost like a daydream, isn't it? Because they just keep the ball forever and ever and ever, and they never look like they're going anywhere. And you must get... It's I mean, everybody's played football to some degree or some level, even if it's just on a PlayStation. If a player is just, if a team is just keeping the ball and you are just being moved side to side to side to side, it's not until
if it happens on FIFA and you come up when you play it online and someone's doing that, next thing that happens is you're getting a red card because you just think, fuck this, buff, press whatever X button on Xbox or square is it on PlayStation, big tackle, fruit backerum, red card.
Well, there's an interesting case here, James, because I think if we're going off that notion, we didn't do anything to try and disrupt that yesterday. There was nothing. There was no attempt to disrupt the flow of that at all yesterday.
But I think we're playing within ourselves because we have to. So as we've mentioned many times, we haven't got that many players. Like we can't. You see that first game against Leicester, they were running the blood to water. I think first game of the season, everything's happening. They just want to get on the pitch, want to do it, and they did. Fell short just. But like a lot of people pointed out, you can't do a full season at that intensity. And I think we're only 4 games in, and they just can't do it. They're looking at the bigger picture and going like, there isn't going to be anyone around here. I think they've just got to play within themselves, and that just kind of lends itself to, we go a goal down, and then that's it. I mean, having said that, we did come from 2 goals behind against Wrexham. But I think that was more down to like changing the system, and we kind of just got a bit of a jump on Wrexham, to be fair. And then they just shit the pants. But yeah,
they definitely didn't shit the pants down at Millwall this weekend. My goodness. What I think on that, James, I think it's interesting because what I've seen from this season is I think Henrik Pedersen is targeting pockets of games to go after sides.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, like, he will. It was very clear yesterday. For the first 15 minutes, he was like, "Get on the ball. Make sure that you stamp your authority on this game. If you can nick something early on, brilliant. That would be great." And we were front-footed. Okay, we didn't create mountains, but we were front-footed. Swansea then get themselves back into the game, and you start seeing us fall into a pattern. And then it was almost like with 7 minutes left of the half, there was this big push of like, right, you're as fucked as we are now, because we made Swansea chase around for the first 15 minutes. We made them run back to goal. We made them kind of like actually move without having the ball. And the point I was going to make earlier is moving without the ball tires you out an awful lot. And it's only when you actually get the ball that you realise, fucking hell, I'm knackered here. Because you relax. I think when you're looking at that second half, I think it was clear we wanted to keep it tight for the first 20 minutes and then start having a go later on in the game, which I understand you're hedging your bets, you're trying to get there later and then just go, no, do you know what, fuck it, let's go. I just felt that the second half, we just never really got started, never got our feet underneath us. And as a result, when you're 1-0 down, there's then I think it was at 1-0, the chance from Jan Valery, which was all his own work, which was fantastic work, by the way. Yeah. When that goes over the bar, you're thinking, oh, no. And then the second goal, there's mistakes that come from as a result of it. And again, I do get it's really, really, really difficult for teams to do so. But I think if you were more akin to the second half performance we saw at Wrexham, where there are literally just bodies on the floor. When the full-time whistle went at Wrexham, the same at Leicester, the same against Stoke, there's just people led flat out on the floor because they've completely emptied the tank they've completely emptied the tank. They haven't got anything left to give. I didn't feel that was there in the performance yesterday, if that makes sense.
Well, you look as well, you can make 5 subs. We made 3, I think, against Swansea yesterday. Ikubo came on after 63 minutes. Reece Johnson and Sean Fisher came on after 80. So it's not the normal 60 where you make the vast majority of them. So they've all, the vast majority have played the full 90, if not nearly. Let's have a look. Stoke game, how many did we make there? All right, we did make 5 in that one, but we made the 5th and 91st minute. But the point is, well, like he's not. We look to the bench and we haven't got people to come on, and especially when you're behind, to change the game and try and get you out of that hole, so that the players are playing all the full 90 as well. So I mean, there's one here. A comment from Adam. He says tired legs, no pre-season. They did look a little bit tired, and Pedersen said that I think they're having 4 days off after this one. No training whatsoever. It looks like Jan Valery's gone off somewhere already. He's been seen with his suitcase. Maybe he's got a transfer. Who knows? You never know. John said heads will drop once we regularly concede early. That's probably going to happen at some point. Well, I don't know. It happened after a minute, didn't it, against Stoke? We'll see. And then another one, Barry said Bannon was not shouting out the orders. I mean, he gave McNeil both barrels at one point when McNeil didn't track his man. But I think that comes down to like, what's it going to achieve? Like just barking out orders and like they're going to play again next week, like these, because there's anyone else to come in. You've got to. There's no point falling out about it. Like they're in this shit together, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? There's no point, getting on each other's backs or anything like that. It's just not going to make it any It's not going to make it any better, is it?
No, it's not. But I think you're looking at, again, we're objectively looking at the game. I don't think currently Henrik knows the best formation for this side. And I think that's evident from all of the games that we've played. I don't think he knows how to get the best out of this squad on a consistent basis, because I would argue probably couldn't have got more out of them at Leicester. It's a very difficult game. You definitely could have got more from them at Stoke, and it was only when we saw a shift in kind of like the tactics that we actually started creating a little bit more. Okay, you concede, 1 minute into both half, like that's always going to put you behind the 8 ball, but it did kind of free him up to go, do you know what, fuck it, like let's try this and this. And it's the same at Wrexham. We're 2-0 down at half time. We come out in the second half. Okay, after the first 5 minutes, everyone's got their half time oranges out the system and everybody's settled back into the rhythm of the game. It was like he'd just gone, do you know what, fuck it, like just go, just play with a level of freedom. Yesterday, it felt like, as you said right at the top, we were second guessing a lot of things yesterday and playing within yourself. And actually, I don't think as fans, and definitely not as fans, we wouldn't have any criticism. There's no difference between losing a game 2 or 7 this season. There isn't. It's just the points on the board. Because goal difference isn't going to save us this year. It's not. Like, I don't care what anyone says. So why not just go at teams? Why not just have a go? Like, I know it leaves the back door open. I'm aware of that. But we're doing that regardless. We're doing that anyway. So there has to come a point from my perspective where you just have to say, do you know what? I'm going to put the young lad, because Olaf Kabatsky, as you rightly said, isn't young.
Yeah.
We're going to have to put the young lad in Charlie McNeil in a situation where, he is going to give the ball away. But I don't want him inside my own half. I want him getting the ball and running at people, because once he'd lost the ball once or twice yesterday, you could visibly see his shoulders drop. Yeah. And you could see kind of like that, not the confidence and the cockiness, but you could almost see that like, I thought the back end of the second half last week against Wrexham, he looked like a dog with 2 dicks. Once he'd realised he could get past James McLean. Once he realised, oh my God, I've got the legs to get past this kid, it was like, dropping of shoulders, taking him short, spinning him behind, knocking the ball past him, beating him to it, getting crosses in. There was none of that from that player yesterday. And I would argue that, yes, there's a little bit of that that's on the player, but it's also the system that he's in as well.
Yeah, just on Olaf Kabatsky, he's 24, so yeah.
Yeah, he should be. Well, again, I know he's only relatively new because he didn't play much game time last year. He should be what he is going to be now, because people used to talk about it being 28, didn't they? When you know what a footballer's going to be at 28. It's now 24 because football's a young person's game.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move ahead to the goals then, if we can. They scored 2. Dr. Robotnik and Ronald McDonald scored both of their goals. Vipotnik. It just sounds like Robotnik, like from the Sonic the Hedgehog games. Like I'm not. Anyway.
He's missing a trick with a celeb. He is. He really.
If it were at us, we'd have a T-shirt. That's all I'm saying.
A shit Swansea. Fuck your Snoop Dogg and your Luka Modric.
Yeah, Dr. Robotnik's Sonic the Hedgehog on the. Anyway, we digress. The goal comes 5 minutes into the second half. Again, a great start to the half for us. I mean, it comes from Bannon giving the ball away. In the middle of the pitch. Him and Jamal Lowe, we talked about being on the same wavelength. They were on different wavelengths there. Jamal Lowe's set off and. He's gone to feet to pass it to him, and it was just not there at all. The ball then gets fired into the eventual goal scorer, Vipotnik. I've watched this at length. For those that don't know, you can watch the full replay of the game, by the way, on if you log onto your iFollow account. I didn't know this until today. You can watch the whole. I can't think of anything worse this season, to be fair, of watching the full replay of all our games. If you have done, then wow, that is some effort. I did skip through, but yeah, I froze it at the point where the ball gets fired in. So the ball's just crossed the halfway line. You've got Palmer on the far side. When I say far side, so in front of the north stand, he's got a man. Then you've got Iofa's got no one. Valerie's tight to Vipotnik, and then you've got Max Lowe on the near side covering, I think it's a Noosa, their winger. And then Galbraith just kind of picks the ball up, and then there's nobody covering whatsoever. We're all over the show. I know. Obviously, we're attacking, and then we've just lost the ball, and it's a break from Swansea. But as play kind of moves forward, it's absolutely all over the place. And then the ball gets slid into the Potnik near post. Maybe the keeper could have done a little bit better, but he's absolutely wellied it, and probably caught him out. Keeper thinks he's going to go across goal, and he hasn't. He's caught him off guard, and he's gone in at the near post, and it was a really good counter-attacking goal, and we just looked at sixes and sevens, didn't really know who to pick up. To be fair,
it's a really good transitional goal and transitional finish. I think if you go back to the point about Galbraith where you were saying when the ball, because let's be honest here, not kind, James, it bounces off the Potnik because it's fired in at him. Yeah. When Galbraith picks it up, because he's the one who causes all the carnage, because he drives at the space and then just flips it between the two. I'm looking at it where last season, naturally a more defensive-minded midfielder like Shea Charles senses the player behind him. When Bannon gives the ball away, he senses, break on here, and just turns to go. In that position yesterday was Fante Ingelsson, and ultimately where he should be playing for me is that pocket that Jamal Lowe is trying to run into. We've seen him be really effective there for us last season and this. Valerie and Iorfa are a totally different wavelength, but I think what you would see with Ingelsson in that position is he just doesn't think of the danger behind. It's not second nature to him. And that's not, again, it's not criticism about him. It's when you watch the ball break to Galbraith sets off. Last year, Shea is after him, tugging him down, getting after. When you actually watch the ball go in, Ingelsson doesn't actually break out of at most a 3/4 stride. And it's that overlapping, because obviously they create the overload. It's a slip ball down the channel. You've got Valerie who's going short. You've got Dominic Iorfa who's trying to sit in and play a deep defensive line. Yeah. It's a mess.
If you watch as well, you've got Valerie who's tight to Vopotnik, and he's tracking him, and then he has to go to Galbraith to close him down because nobody is going to him. And that gives him obviously that kind of 2 yards of space to then pass the ball through. It's that overload in it, and we just don't know who to pick up, and someone has to do something, and then they're just really good at Swansea there in finding the player that's in space. Because if you look at it as well, it's not even slick the move. I think Galbraith miscontrols it at first. He can't get the ball out of his feet, but he still manages to get the ball out wide where there's an extra man, and then it's just a bit of a poor goal to concede really. But from a Swansea perspective, I think. Well, he's worked to a T, hasn't it, really? They've just got to break really. They've get it into that front man and then get runners off of him. All right, it didn't quite work according to plan, but they got the end result, didn't they? They got the goal.
Absolutely. And again, there was that stat that came out last year where it baffled loads of EFL commentators, where they were talking about it's not actually, you don't score when you're dominant in a game. You actually score when you are least dominant in a game, because there's opportunities. And we were talking about it because me and you saw that stat and both went, fucking hell, that makes an awful lot of sense. How many times do we watch Cardiff last year, Blackburn, all of these sides just break on us and score? Yeah. It's almost like you're suckering a team in to make a mistake, and when then you do make a mistake, you are decisive and quick in your decision making, which we, let's be clear here, saw at Bolton. We've mentioned this a number of times, James, and I know you've definitely mentioned this a number of times when there was previous hosts on also. We have to work so hard to score a goal. so hard. And it has to be a really slick move like it was at Wrexham last week, and it has to be really well worked and engineered. We don't score breakaway goals. We just don't do it. We're not set up or geared towards doing so, which again, when you're going back to the stuff that we were talking about at the top here, I think that has to be a shift in the way that Pedersen perhaps looks at this, is if we are going to sit in, who's going to be those 3 or 4 that fly forward? Okay, 9 times out of 10, they'll lose the ball. Yeah. But when they do work it well, like we saw last week at Wrexham with that last-minute breakaway from Cadamarteri into Fasire into McNeil, when it does work, you'll create so many opportunities.
Yeah, I've got to bring this one up. Liam said 1867 news ex post Klaxon. I've seen loads of people in the chat talking about it. I have just gone and had a quick nosy whilst you were talking there, Matt. We will be talking about all that sort of stuff, transfers and things in extra time. So if you want to go and listen to that, patreon.com/WTID pod will be 10-15 minutes after we finish this show. We'll be over there. I'll give us time to both have a quick read, just kind of for people that haven't seen it. The crux of it is basically Piers Charles and Bailey Cadamarteri were to be sold and then loaned back to us, but the EFL have apparently blocked that motion. I think it was Andy Giddins posted something similar because they said. He said something about players being loaned back to us and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll be talking about that later. So yeah, head over now, patreon.com/WTID pod, sign up and everything so you're ready. The link to that show, like I said, will be live around about 9:45 this evening. We'll be talking about all of that and reacting to all of that as well. Let's get back to the game then. 2-0. It takes a little bit longer. We have a few chances and things, but as I mentioned, Ronald McDonald now gets on the score sheet. I think at this point we're just tired. I think 100%. As I mentioned, we were on top at the start, and Swansea were down here. Now at this point, it's totally flipped the other way around, and we're a goal down. Yes, like I said, we did have a few chances. That Valerie one that you mentioned, Cadamarteri were working tirelessly as well throughout the game, but just couldn't really fashion much of a chance, to be fair. Nothing clear cut anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I think we've just made 2 changes as well. I'm not saying that's part of the problem, but I think Johnson's just come on and Fixture as well. But we just don't put any pressure on the ball. As the ball comes out wide, they work it across the box, and then I froze it a few times. There's a camera angle on the replay. It's behind the goal, and you can see it really well there. And it happens really quickly. And I've got to give credit to Ronald, because Ronald, I think is how you pronounce it. I'll just say Ronald for this purpose. He kind of just drifts across, and he gets himself in between both Max Lowe and Dominic Iorfa. There's a runner as well going out wide. So I think Johnson's had to leave his man and cover that one off. Everyone's kind of shifted across. Max Lowe's then picked up Johnson's man and Dom Iorfa, and this is a criticism of him all the time. And this is also why he looks so good in a weird way. He's so reactive. He's reactive to anything, not proactive. So he looks so quick because he gives everyone a 2-yard head start all the time, and then he catches them up. If he just was faster than everyone and just like it was more proactive, like he wouldn't look as impressive. Same thing again. He doesn't sense the danger. He doesn't sense that things have moved across. He's marking absolutely no. He's marking fresh air. The overload is all on that one side as they've shifted it all across. I mean, if they've worked on that Swansea, fair play, 'cause it worked to a T. And they slip it into him. I think it takes 1 touch to control it. Second touch, obviously, Iorfa's got on him, but he's before he gets to him, he's hit it, and Horvath looks like a statue in goal. Don't move, and he's. I mean, to be fair, he couldn't have put it any closer to the corner. He hits the post and goes in, and it's 2-0. And I think I said at the time, game over, and it was. It just again defensively could have been a lot better. Just physically and probably mentally tired at that point, and I think we're going to see that. That's going to be a theme throughout the season, to be fair.
It's again, as you said, James, it's a really well worked and exploitative goal. It's really good. Like I can't criticize. You've done all of the hard work as a Swansea player to knacker them and grind them down, your opposition, and then you can just pick them apart if you are clever. The ball into him, I think it's Dr. Robotnik who plays the ball into him. And it's for the whole world. When he got the ball on the edge of the area, James, I was going, fucking hell, he's going to rocket this if that first one's anything to go off. And he doesn't. He shapes to hit it and just slices it through. It's so clever. It's one of those things where you go, fuck, even I didn't see that. Normally when you're sat in a stand, you can see play developing, you know where it's going to go. He's such a clever little ball. Finish is great as well. No complaints from me about that second goal. They just work it so well.
Do you know the other thing though as well? At that point where he passes it to Ronald, he's got 2 other options. He can slip it. There's the other guy that obviously I know Max Lowe's tight on him, but he could have passed it. Max Lowe's, he's kind of goal side. I think Max Lowe's going to try and get a toe end. If the ball comes in, he's going to try and get in front of him and get there first before it does. Because if he doesn't, he's going to look stupid and it's going to go past him. But that option. The other option was to go out wide and then probably cut it across the 6-yard box. Obviously, he went for the guy that were just unmarked between both defenders. But the other, again, he had options, and that's something that we've not been having. There was a point, I think we must have been 1-0 down at this point, where Cadamarteri busts a gut and gets there first, and he's down in the corner in front of the cop, like in front of the north stand side. And then he turns, he does well to get the ball, and there's like nobody to pass to. He has to then go back to Bannon, who was kind of 35 yards out wide left. There's nobody there to kind of take advantage of him getting there first and stuff, whereas they go forward and they've got options left, right and centre, which makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
I think that is my criticism, James, of the opening 4 league games that I've seen this year is, I mean, you could say it against Leeds, but who cares? They're fucking shite. My criticism in the opening 4 league games, aside from the second half at Wrexham, spells throughout that Stoke game, and obviously the goal that we scored at Leicester, is when we do get in those advanced positions, as in when we are playing further up the pitch, we are capable of breaking teams down. We are capable of fashioning chances. That hasn't gone away from last year. Okay, you have to work a little bit harder at it because there's obviously not those, like those individual players who can produce a moment of magic like a Josh Windass or Jedi Gassama or Anthony Masaba. But we do create chances. We have created chances against a number of teams that we've played 4 games. 3 we've been able to fashion 3 or 4 chances, like quality, really good chances that we should be taking. Yesterday was the first one where I was like, I come away from that and I go, aside from Jan Valerie's dancing feet, which is all his own work because there is no movement, there is no other option. Like that was one of the opportunities in the second half where we did actually have players in advanced positions, but they're all stationary. They're all stationary. They're all in a position. He's not got somebody going on an overlap like wide for him. He's not got somebody like flipping through and running through. Like he's not got the movement. That he's not got like a striker trying to run in behind a defender. So he just kind of, it was almost like he just went, oh, fuck, oh, no, there's a play. Oh, shit, there's another. Do you know what? I might as well have a shot here. Every other game, we have found a way to break the opponent down. Yesterday, we didn't. And that, from my perspective, you have to give credit to the opponent there. Swansea figured out the best way to play us, figured out if they just sit in a defensive shape and we just pass the ball about, we'll grind them down and we'll get chances late on. I cannot criticise anything that Swansea did yesterday. They thoroughly deserved. That was the one side that I've come away and gone, they thoroughly deserved the 3 points because I didn't think Stoke did and I didn't think Leicester did.
Yeah, I thought this kind of after that Stoke game that it's going to be a very long season. I kind of thought that before we even kicked a ball, to be fair. Yesterday, again, I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, this is going to be very, very long. We're only early on in the season and already we're talking about being tired and stuff and the lack of pre-season and how that's really not set us up at all. I think it's great this international break has come at this, so soon. Normally international breaks are shit, but they can recharge a little bit. But again, like there's only so much you can do with the limited resources. I said, we've turned up to a gunfight with a knife, and it's a butter knife that we've brought in. It really that is it. That is, we're going to have to. People say, don't they, about celebrating draws and stuff. I think that we are going to have to celebrate every 100%. Draw that we get, like massively. Christ, when we get that first win, I hope it's soon, but when we get that first win, oh my God, I'll get a new flag. I'll get another tie. I'll wear another tie. I'll do everything. Party poppers. Yeah. We need to really make the most of it. But yeah, we're going to talk about kind of players' risk of burnout and stuff. But in the interest of time and stuff, we've already kind of touched on that already. So. Jamal Lowe and Cadamarteri, their partnership. It's something that you said in the Discord yesterday that, in your opinion, they don't really work as a front two, do they, for you?
No, I don't think so. I think they can work in the same team, but I don't think they work as a two. I think Lowe's best work for us this season, and arguably his best performance in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt, full stop, is when runners are going in behind him. If you think back to that Plymouth game last year, and I know he played as a central striker in that game, he didn't though. He lined up in a central position, but actually he was allowed to drop into pockets of space out wide and there were runners in behind him. I think what I've seen this year is when he isn't playing with his back to goal, he's actually playing facing goal and he's got runners and options going around the outside of him or kind of like through the middle. He picks the right option. more often than not. If you look at Leicester, he links the play, plays the ball out to Valerie screws the ball back, Chalobah smashes it in. The equaliser last week, he picks the ball up in the centre of the park, he's got options wide, left, through the middle, picks the right pass, linking play on the edge of the box. If you're going to pair them, if you are going to play a pair up top, it has to be... If you're going to play a pair up top, for me, it has to be Ike Ugbo and Bailey Cadamarteri. The other alternative to squeezing them in is to change it from a 2 to a 3, and you're playing McNeil, Kabatsky, and then Jamal Lowe, because you've got two lads who want to go in behind and want to run in behind him. I think then Jamal Lowe, if you're going to play a 2, you have to then drop Baz and, would it be Ingleson or Fosire, deep, like really deep, and say, yeah, okay, Baz, you are going to play a quarterback. I know it's not his skill set and it's not what he's best at, but then that frees Jamal Lowe up to receive the ball on the half turn in the 10 and be able to slip people in left, right and centre. Again, you're talking about how to get miracles, like how to get blood out of a stone, aren't you, James? Like, really seriously. And this isn't because Jamal Lowe's not a good player. Jamal Lowe, you were doing some research before, I'm sure you'll still have the figures up, about where Jamal Lowe's most in goal involvements have come from. For me, he has to be wide left of a front 3. And that is sadly going to see my brave boy Ike Ugbo not play. But Jamal Lowe left, Cadamarteri central, Charlie McNeil right. That is what you should be going with.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, he actually gets most of his joy out on the right-hand side, but he gets most of his joy in the wide areas. Like, when we signed him, I can remember at the time thinking, fucking hell, why are we signing? Because I thought Ingleson was a winger as well. When you look at where he's played, I know he's never really played out there, although some of his best performance has been kind of in a wide of a front 3. But, you know, because we were saying, why are we just signing it like wingers left, right and centre? We've already got Gassama. Remember them two, by the way. We've already got those players.
Hey, it's all right. Rangers think he's shit anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, Rangers are doing shit, but that's by the by. But, you know, then we signed Kabatsky, then we signed Jamal Lowe, and we signed McNeil, and we're like, why are we signing all these wingers all the time? But, you know, we haven't played Jamal Lowe out that way. I've had a look once. If you go on Transfer Market, again, I'm just trusting that Transfer Market is right, but that will ring true in my own kind of eye test and stuff. I think they had him as one game against Portsmouth. It only tells you when they've started as well, with what position they've started in. Yeah, they had him down as, you know, one game last season playing wide. That was actually wide left. But yeah, every other time he's played through the middle, and I just want to see him like in that. You know, you mentioned numbers. I've got some numbers for you. 121 appearances on the right, and 28 goals, 17 assists, 98 through the middle. This is obviously in his career, not just at Sheffield Wednesday, of course. 15 goals and 7 assists through the middle. On the left, 12 goal contributions. I think it was 9 goals, 3 assists. But the big thing there is 160 odd appearances as a winger, and only 98 through the middle. So he's played nearly, not quite double, obviously, but a massive proportion of his games have come in those wide areas, and he gets more joy. He gets goals and assists from those positions. Again, I'm not sure. He's obviously a lot older now. I'm not sure when those goals were. I've not looked that deep into it. Were they earlier on in his career when he was young 20-year-old, or they later on? I've no idea. However, I just feel like we've got to try him down in one of the, like you said, in the channels, and just see what happens if he plays down there. I know it's going to look a bit strange having a number 9 down there, but we've got a number 7 at right back, so it doesn't really matter, does it, to be honest?
No, it doesn't matter. And also, yes, I agree with you. I think he has lost that yard of pace from where he was maybe 4 years ago, earlier on in his career. But he is an intelligent footballer. He knows, he's got very quick feet. He knows how to pick a pass. And when we have seen him get into those wider areas in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt, whether that be through a crossfield run, whether that be through just pure, shits and gigs, he's ended up there, he always finds a way out. The worst that happens is he wins a throw-in. He never gives the ball away. He always finds an inside pass, or he goes back. Like, he does the right thing consistently because he knows what he's doing. I think when you're playing him up alongside a young lad in Bailey Cadamarteri at the moment is reminding me very much of a Labrador. In terms of, he's just everywhere. 100 mile an hour. He's running and that is from his spell at Lincoln. He has learned how to run a back line on his own, and he's very good at it. Give the lad out wide But put Jamal Lowe out wide and give that lad an opportunity to actually get on the ball and create something. Because at the moment, Olaf Kabatsky was really good at Wrexham, but he's very hit and miss. He's inconsistent. You know what you're going to get from Jamal Lowe in that wide area. Yeah,
agreed, definitely. Let me read some of these 3-word match reviews out then that we've had. Tim's gone with, if you want to get involved, by the way, head over to X at WTID Pod. Nearly 18,500 people followers now, which is absolutely incredible. Listening to my bollocks I talk about on there on a regular basis. Tim's gone with Yorkshire water scandal. Jack says pitch needs invading. Neil's gone with play the kids. Owl's about that. Well, Big Artie Show says betrayed beyond belief. I can see he's in here at somewhere. I've seen some comments from him. Luke says copy, paste, repeat. Mr. Paul Pashley. Paul, if you're listening, thanks for the last couple of weeks. Get him out. Wednesday Retro says all on Chansiri. Kieran's gone with fuck off Chansiri. Dave says, what's the point? Nigel ran out of steam. Blame on Chansiri. Keep trying, boys. We need help. Absolutely fucking depressing is another one. And these are the comments that you hate to hear. Ross losing the love. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones to me that hurt the most. Like, you know, and it's not just Ross. There's lots of other people that have been saying the same. I think Harry put a post out in the Discord earlier on, quite a lengthy one, saying that it's just like it's getting to the point where it's just getting a bit too much in it. You know, when you're just getting defeat after defeat. And I know we're only early on in, but we can see what's going to be happening already. You know, unless we have another minor miracle. And you're just thinking like. I mean, I said it to you, didn't I, yesterday? Like, I said I can't be arsed. I didn't mean it like I mean it just in terms of like, I'm not that arsed about win, lose or draw. Yep. Ultimately, like, it's almost like no emotion there anymore, if you know what I mean. I can see it coming. We've lost 2-0. I know we've been ranting and raving about it today, but
yeah. It's
just like you've tempered his expectations that much. We're just expecting it now every week.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting to see the duality of the football club home and away, and the attitude of those who you find away from home as opposed to at home. And I know in away fans are usually a lot more kind of like bought in and partisan and all the rest of it. But there has been a pure celebration of like those moments like that have happened away from home. Like, you know, like just pure unbridled joy. Like of, oh my God, we've scored. Like, not like... Yeah.
You haven't done that at home yet, by the way.
No, of course not. No, of course, don't be silly, James. But I think it's one of those situations where, again, it's really, really sad. And I would never tell anybody how to support this football club because it means so much to individuals. Being angry and being frustrated and remembering exactly why we are in this situation is really important. That perspective is important. But actually, we all knew what this season was going to be. We did. We all knew what this season was going to be when we started it a couple of weeks ago at Leicester. We all knew the likelihood of what was going to happen. It's about remembering, actually, if I can contain this to the 90 minutes of where I am going to football and that feeling, that actually, yes, I should feel disappointed. I should feel angry. I should feel upset. I can feel despondent about it. When those moments come round, like a goal or a corner, cherish them. Like, cherish them, because they're an attacking throw-in that Svante Ingolson doesn't launch long. Like, cherish them. But it is. But that's my point. Is James is like we're going to have to start compartmentalizing that feeling towards the game, and actually after the game or around the game or before the game, it has to be vehement anger towards the owner, in my personal opinion, because he does not give a flying fuck about any of this.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to actually start. I'm going to look at the stats and see which stats did we beat Swansea in. So we beat them in shots off target. 6-5, so that's good. Corners, we had 2 to their 7, so we didn't quite win there. We drew in offsides. We had 1 offside to their 1 offside, so that's good. Passes, no, we were well down on that. Throw-ins. 25 to their 16. Have that, Swansea. Up yours.
Easy
win there.
2-1.
Get that on your honours board. We won on errors leading to a shot, 1-0.
Not great.
Yeah. Interceptions, beat him on that one. Goalkeeper saves, 6 to their 1. So, I mean, look.
Did he make a save? Did he make a save, their keeper?
Jamal Lowe's header.
Okay, cool.
Because that was
worldy save as well. Worldy save.
But that was the only shot that we had on target. So, anyway, just on that point there, that header just went to the wrong man. That needed to go to Cadamarteri. I feel like Cadamarteri would have done a lot better with that header. Just fell to Jamal Lowe and you're like, oh,
difficult
fuck.
chance. Yeah. It's also a difficult chance. There's not much pace on the cross, was there?
Yeah, not at all. So yeah, we beat them on a few metrics there. All the wrong ones as well.
Easy one, James. I had more shots than them down the road, and that's a win. Come on,
get in. Oh dear. I mean, it's a great advert for Sheffield football, isn't it? The home of football. They're doing our bit this season.
Genuinely, it is when I had a look at, because I thought I'd just have a glance at the league table this morning. Don't look at it until December. It doesn't matter.
At a glance, you printed it off, haven't you, mate?
No, I haven't, mate. No, not yet. I have still got a sticker from Andy from Discord, which I am going to be keeping, which is the opening day massacre, and it's got us in 16th and then rock bottom. If anybody who wants some of those, please pop it in the comments. I'll send you through the link to his lad Shopify. It's a fucking belter of a sticker. It is just kind of, it's one of those situations where you just sit and think, do you know what? While we can have a little bit of a cheap chuckle, I'm going to take full fucking advantage of it at this point in this season. Any opportunity that as a Wednesday fan I get to smile about stuff that is on field, boy, am I going to take my opportunity. Whether that be celebrating a throw-in, a sticker, a goal, anything that I can, I'm going to take. I am going to take I am going to take the wins where they come this season, because it has been a summer of horrendous news after horrendous news, and I feel so desperately sad for every single person connected to the football club, but most importantly for those who are working at it and having to work under this tyrant.
Yeah, totally agree. I can see more comments in here saying, about the 1867 news or Simon's post. We are going to be talking about it on Extra Time. Patreon.com/WTID pod is where you need to go for that one. Do you know what as well? I'll make this Extra Time episode for free members as well. So you can sign up there. You don't have to pay. Just sign up on Patreon and you'll be able to watch that Extra Time episode in about 20 minutes time or so. So make sure you get over there and we're going to be talking about the Cadamarteri to Blackburn or United. Obviously, Simon's saying about we can't sell any players now either. Or loan them back to us.
Just on that, James, I know we're going to get into it in a lot more depth on Extra Time. Don't get me wrong, I still think there's a high likelihood that we might sell somebody tomorrow. I think there's a high likelihood that we might sell somebody tomorrow, because honest answer is, how else do you fucking fund it? How else? Unless, because, the banks have all run dry now, so...
Well, and as well, if, people that listen to or watch the episode that I did with the guy from the Times, I forget his name now, apologies, but 80% of match day revenue, or 80% down on match day revenue. That was after the Stoke game as well. I mean, I was there, yesterday. I was half an hour, I got to the ground half an hour before. There was nobody on the concourse. If they were certainly weren't buying anything. Also on this as well, I've seen people taking pictures and calling people out for buying something at on the concourse and stuff. What you've got to remember as well is, obviously, the vast majority of people that were there would have been season ticket holders, without a shadow of a doubt. So at that point, you feel like you're fully invested into the football club by buying a season ticket. There would still be some people there that have bought a ticket to go for whatever, They might not be as much of a football fan or a Sheffield Wednesday fan as what you are. We bleed blue and white. There's not everyone is watches these podcasts, for example. By virtue of watching this podcast, you are fully invested into Sheffield Wednesday, but not everyone's like that. So please don't start digging people out for being, enablers and all this sort of stuff. Just because they've gone and bought a pie. The fact that the vast majority of people haven't, and it was considerably quieter than what it has been before. Yeah, that is a win. You're not going to get 100% of people not buying something. Like, that's never going to happen. But the fact that it was, an 80%, the Stoke game, 80% less than what would be normally taken on a match day. The fact that, you looked around and all right, they could have bought the home shirt and just not worn it. But I saw very few, even blue and white shirts. Everyone wearing black and gold. So a lot of the 93 away shirt, knocking around. Loads of people getting fully on board with that. I didn't see many, if any, of the home shirt, and not even just that, just out in the out and about. I saw one young lad wearing the purple away shirt. A young lad. Do you know what I mean? That is it. I didn't see any others at all. And even then, he could have got it from DHgate. So still no money in Chansiri's pocket. But what I say is, just don't stop digging other people out. Like, you've made your decision to do whatever that is. Great. We can have a discussion about it. I'm going to try, if I can, and facilitate on the debate show. I'm going to try and get people from both, from a boycott perspective. Some people that are I won't say against the boycott, but still choose to do things like go to the Leeds game and stuff like that. Yeah. I want to speak to them and get their thoughts on the reasons why they've chosen to do that, and also people that are choosing to boycott it as well. I'm going to try and facilitate some sort of and actually have a debate rather than an hour of therapy. Actually have a bit of a debate and
where we can look at all the shiny new objects that every other Football League club has purchased.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, transfers and stuff like that. At least we haven't had to do a transfer deadline day show, Matt. We've saved ourselves a couple of hours there of time, because that would have been.
That was a tough stint before Millwall that last year. Jesus Christ.
If you thought that one were bad, Christ Almighty! Imagine trying to do one for this transfer window.
Just analysing how Ben Sheaf has gone from one of the best centre midfielders in the league to fucking Wrexham's new number 8.
Well, I know. We'd have been like, and we're live outside the training ground. I've just seen a fox walk past. That's about as much. The lights are still off. But anyway, the point I was trying to make. Let's not dig people out for doing that. Did you see the picture of the bin bags on the seats as well? I saw that one. I think that's the best one was the welcome to Hillsborough, except Chansiri. That was on the south, Matt. That's on the south.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm so proud of my brave boys over on the south. I'm so proud.
I saw a picture of the guy putting it on, and it looked like your dad, actually. I thought it was actually your dad at first, and I don't think it was. But
absolutely no chance he's getting down over a railing to do that. Absolutely no fucking hope.
He's still chatting the birds up on the train.
I don't know if you've heard he's had life-threatening surgery. Yeah, I think I take
it. He tells you that every given.
He tells anybody who brushes past him he's had it. I think, I agree with you, James. I think that debate, is really interesting. I think just on the bin bags and the stuff that is happening at Hillsborough now that wasn't organised by the trust, I think that gives you an indication of the feeling and the tide slowly turning. I also think that the fact that it was the lowest league home attendance for 10 years, was it 10 years yesterday, the lowest league attendance?
Yeah,
there was 19,000 there, never 19,000 there. It is making a huge difference, and it is because otherwise he wouldn't be looking to sell off more assets. He wouldn't be looking to do all of the things that everybody is kind of like saying, oh, these are the worst. Like somebody like myself, I often get labelled as somebody who is all doom and gloom, which I am in this situation. I would describe myself as a realist, not somebody who is looking at the shining knights coming over the hill, because it's clearly not happening at the minute. It's just a case of, this is working. It is hitting him in the pocket, but you are not going to see a tangible thing that happens right in front of your eyes of, I've not bought a Bovril, so he sold the club. It don't work like that.
He'll blame him, though. Chansiri will blame that one man. He'll Mr. Shaw, or whatever his name's going to be, because he didn't buy a Bovril, I've actually sell it. But I know what you mean, though. You can't, and the club aren't going to come out and say, oh, by the way, takings are down. This has obviously come from, some people inside the club that have, and I've heard it from a couple of sources as well, so that information is going to come out. It's just not going to be like in black and white, like the club are going to say things. One thing I do want to say as well, there was a period of time in the first half where there was a good,
yes,
I want to be conservative and say 10 minutes. It might have even been longer. There was a good period of time where there was everyone singing the we don't care about Deshpon chant, and it would keep going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then there'd be kind of a tackle or an attack, or a shot or something like that, and then it kind of go up again. You know, it was like kind of quiet, and then it'd go up, and everyone would get involved. And it would, you know what, I think it actually worked. We were playing all right at that point. That were like kind of, I would say, between 30 and 40 minutes in that first half that we were doing that, and fair play, because it has been a bit of a morgue at Hillsborough at times. And there's been, you know, I know you spoke with Paul a lot after the Stoke game, saying like, look, literally we say all this stuff on social media, and I know social media is not an accurate representation of the complete fan base, but we say all these things, and then it comes to the crux of it, and we get in the ground, and we do nothing. So, all right, it could have been more, but at least there was some chanting going on and stuff like that.
Apologies, James. I am going to get very crude here because it was just on that conversation that you were talking about then. Someone described it to me last week away at Wrexham as Wednesday fans are all fingering and no fucking. That was how it was described to me. And I thought, do you know what? It's not the analogy that I would use, but I was sat there and I was like, fucking hell. Like, how is your brain gone to that? But yeah, again,
it weren't Gaz, were it? No,
it wasn't. No, it wasn't Gaz. He was too busy trying to get me to service my missus when I got home, which wasn't going to happen. That was a bizarre exchange from last week. But yeah, I think it was one of those situations where, again, because there was nothing formally organised by the trust yesterday. Yes, there was the black and gold protest. Yes, there was the stuff to kind of like back and be very vocal and be boycott about it, and, you know, boycotting on the concourse. But there was nothing that was formal. Whereas the two prior home games, that was Portsmouth and Stoke, and there have been huge scale protests where it feels like, if I'm sitting on the other side of the fence, it feels like all of that energy has been dispersed outside of the ground. People come into the ground who have been and attended those protests, who are perhaps the more vocal in getting those chants started, and they go, right, well, somebody else can fucking do it now. And it doesn't happen. Whereas yesterday, as you say, it started sporadically, and then it became 10 minutes of like a constant noise and a constant drone, which is good. But it was also, it lifted the players yet again, because we finished the second half stronger. It happened the week before at Wrexham. It happened 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before that at Leicester. The backing on the pitch makes all the difference. Jamal Lowe said it in the week, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Look, we'd love fans to be here, but we totally understand why they're not. These players know exactly why the fuck we're making all of that racket and all of that noise and doing all of this shit. So let's continue. Even if it's not, I'm going to get, you know, back come the boys. Let's make some noise for the boys, because back comes Sheffield Wednesday, and it's not IOs. If it's just 90 minutes of singing about him, that will create more of an atmosphere than it will do everybody just mumbling and grumbling.
Yeah, agreed. They've even knocked on the head the half-time challenge as well, so clearly not getting the £50 voucher from Just Eat or whatever anymore. But anyway, right,
plea to a new owner. Sorry, James, before we finish, plea to a new owner, please change the fucking walkout music second half.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's wrap things up. Join us over on Extra Time. As I mentioned, it'll be available for free members as well. You have to be a member. Just sign up. You know, you don't have to pay or anything like that. Sign up as a free member. I mean, you can pay if you want. That would be fantastic. You'll get all the other episodes as well. But I will put this on because I know there's a lot of people that want to hear us talk about the stuff regarding the transfers and the post that Simon put out whilst we were being live. Which can talk about Cadamarteri and the links to Blackburn and Sheffield United as well. So yeah, head over to Patreon now. We're going to be live at 1:45. Give me 5 minutes to grab another drink. By the way, on drinks, those Budweisers are still in the fridge. They might be frozen by now. They are still going to be the coldest Budweisers you've ever had in your entire life. So
they are, James. And whilst we're on stuff, this will be the last time that anybody sees this shirt until we are sold. So take one last good look at it.
I was going to say to you, you need a sign behind you saying purchased last year when we weren't boycotted. I've seen so many people commenting going, I hope you've not bought that one, Matt. I hope that one's off the HK. No, it is genuine, but you did buy it before it's not a recent purchase, but anyway. Right, thank you very much, everyone. Get over to Patreon. We'll see you there in a second. Cheers.